Hey guys, it is lunch and learn time. This is Cedar, and I think we've got Thor here with us. Checking to make sure I've got all my tech set up. So I do have my individual stream running in addition to the live stream for the 30-minute ES execution chart. So I have two streams running right now. One of them has the white candles showing, and that's where I'll be doing the analysis for the recording for the lunch and learn video. If you have any ticker requests that you've not put in, it's in the lunch and learn charting session. I'm just going to tag an @ here, there, or not charting session, sorry, charting channel, lunch and learn. I don't know what I'm saying. The lunch and learn thread underneath Market Talk channel.
Cedar, you can hear me?
I can. Hi, Thor. How are you?
All right. I'm great. My headset worked first time for once.
Awesome. All right. Well, I've got the recording running, and it looks like our first request is AI from AB Prince. So I'll let you start with that one. And if you guys have any tickers, make sure you get them in there. It's the thread underneath Market Talk.
On the daily, I have no interest. Let me go to a weekly. Looks like it's trying to find support. They changed, I think I've told you, I like using Yahoo charts for scanning charts really quick, and they changed everything.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, so it's kind of hard for me to, I'm not as quick with it as I was, let's put it that way. Okay, got that working. Yeah, it looks like it's trying to find support right in here. It's hitting the bottom trend line. Trend line starts back in December, and I'm on a weekly, by the way, looking at it. If I was trying to play this on some sort of a bounce, I'd wait for it to get around $24 before I'd get in, or maybe even try now since it's on the trend line. But I don't really like it that much. I'm not even sure, because it's AI, if it's a great stock or not, because I know it took off for a while when everybody was getting heated about AI. It was kind of slowed down a little bit and dropping down into a zone. But if I was looking to get into it, I'd probably look at it now. And if I wasn't really excited about getting into it, I'd wait for around 24.
So I have a level on the weekly from a while back when we actually did this at 24.94. I still really like that. I'm going to zoom out so I can catch all the volume. Boy, we've traded in that range for a little bit, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
So a little bit of volume just above us, 25.91. Our volume point of control headed back all the way from March of 23, so a year. Is sitting above us at 27.62. This looks like just a big range here. Now, zooming back, looking left significantly, we could be, let me draw that trend line in. Maybe that's the trend line you were looking at. I'm going to post that so I can see if that's what you were talking about. I tried it in nearer time frame and it did not work for me at all. So let me see if this is what you were mentioning. And we have looked below that back into the week from February 5th, wicked under it and closed above. So I guess this is going to have a what does this week close as kind of scenario happening with the volume point of control sitting just above here at that 27.70. Unless you're looking to add it as long-term position, which is what I have, I would, well, and I always recommend that 0.5% or 1% kind of put them in a basket of AI stocks. I do like this ticker for long-term holds. So if you're looking to add not necessarily from a technology perspective, but from a newer technology of AI, I still like the ticker itself for long term, but nothing for day trades in here for me. This just looks kind of wishy-washy for a while.
Yeah. One thing I did just notice is I was at a weekly and I went back and was looking at my trend line that I have drawn on the weekly and then crossing it over to a daily. If you look at that and cross it over to a daily, you can see that it did a wick rejection down so far today. We have to see
Yep.
how the rest of the day plays out. But it's just right above the trend line again today. It went below it and then jumped above it. And those wick rejections, obviously, if they're on top, they're bearish. If
Yeah.
they're below, they're bullish. Kind of like Tesla yesterday.
Yeah, if I
And that didn't
wasn't
work
looking at the
out. So
daily,
it's just one indicator, but Tesla
right.
was looking bullish yesterday and then just absolutely, crap today. So, but I like those kind of candle patterns.
Yeah,
I
if I
like the
wasn't
fact that
in AI
it did
long
jump
term
right back
already,
up above that trend line. But it's not something I like a lot, as far as a day trade, like Cedar said.
I had myself muted, sorry.
Long-term hold, yeah.
Yeah, if I wasn't in it long term already, I would be in it probably right here long term for my portfolio. So if you're looking for something and you're not over represented in tech at this point, might be worth paying attention to. Sorry, I said it like 3 times and you didn't hear me, so I realized I was muted. My apologies. It'll be a funny
Oh,
recording. Okay, next one is Neo. So I'll start with that one. Oh, poor Neo. Owie. Okay, well, this is all the data. We're pretty much near all-time lows. So tiny bit of volume below us on the weekly. 45.50 is a pretty, I mean, it's a nice psychological level, nice and round. Let me drop that in. But it still could keep going down. The problem is it's a ADR, China ADR. We do have earnings coming up May 29th. I really like the Neo product. That's a personal opinion. I actually think it's a nicer vehicle than the Tesla, and I'm a pretty big Tesla fan as far as he pushed the envelope, Elon did, to make it where other companies were actually pushing to get to market sooner, or we would still be probably in 10, 15 years still waiting for them to do it. So I really like him for pushing that, but I think product-wise, the Neo is better. It's neat to be able to just pop into a drive-through and change out your battery, kind of like the drive-in emissions that we have here. However, I don't trade Chinese like ADRs because you don't actually own the stock. You own a piece of paper, and if they decide to do something silly, some shenanigans, you could have Luckin Coffee, and Luckin Coffee had a bunch of fraud and bunches of problems that happen along with it. So not saying that there's issues fundamentally with Neo, it just they worry me. So I can't really touch this here. I guess if we recaptured the $4.66 on a daily with continuation the following day, I might be looking to do an earnings run up kind of trade, looking to target like 581, which is our volume point of control from the last 12 months. But aside from that, I'm really not, I don't look at them. I'm not a fan. Sorry. Go ahead.
I just posted 2 charts on it. I was as big a fan of Neo as you were. But I'm completely out for a long time. I haven't been in it since it really started failing bad. But if you look at this weekly chart on top that I just posted in the luncheon there, you can see that it's trying to find support right in here. So if it does find support here, I'd switch over to the daily and watch that trend line that I drew on the bottom chart there and wait for it to break that trend line, and then I'd start looking to get in.
Yeah, I like
still
that
think
bottom one. Yeah.
Yeah, at some point, Neil's, it's not going to stay down here forever because I do like the product too. But that's what I would do. Watch the weekly, make sure it finds the support that it shows on my chart on the top, which it's right there now, and then switch over to a daily and wait for it to break that trend line that I have drawn that goes all the way back to July. But as far as getting in right now, no.
All right, next one's Tesla, and you are up.
Oh man, Tesla. I talk about this one all the time.
Oh, look at that gap
Um,
down. Woohoo.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I could just go back to all my notes that I've posted over the last, well, for right now, over the last couple of weeks. You know, everybody knows I've been calling it short, short, short. This morning, I said that it had support at 163, and our low was 163.43. So it did hold that, but if it doesn't hold 163, I have it going down to pause a little bit at 160, and then I have it going all the way down to, I think, 145, 146. It's still in a lot of trouble. Tesla's one of those stocks that eventually is probably going to turn around. I don't even know what the P&E is now on this one, but I honestly think that Tesla is old enough now to where it's going to start getting paid attention to, like a lot of the other automotive companies, and they're going to get called on their, their forward earnings and things like that, instead of, what they're actually shipping out, building, etc. They'll be treated more like a car company, even though I've said, I think, years from now, they're not even going to be known as a car company. They're just going to be known as Tesla, that does, battery technology, energy technology, and of course, their side gig is probably going to be cars. Right now, they're known as a car company, and I think until they start showing something better than they have recently, they're going to keep going down. So I'd be watching 163 for now. I really thought it had a chance yesterday. If you look at that, in fact, let me post this chart. I thought that it was going to, of course, not for long. I didn't think, I only said this because it looked like it was set up to do something long. It broke above the bottom trend line, and it had a wick rejection. Like I said, I like, and that's what I referred to a little while ago about what was the first one we talked about?
AI.
Yeah, AI, same thing. But if you look at this chart, you can see that wick rejection was there. It was above it bounced off of the bottom trend line, and it moved above the top trend line with that wick rejection. And I thought, you know what, this thing has a chance. Everything was there to show that it had a chance. And then, the news hit this morning, and boom, it got hit hard. So I just watched 163 for now, and I'd watch that bottom trend line that I have drawn there is now invalid. It's not any good now. The only way it's good is if today we had some sort of miraculous recovery, and it recovered above that trend line. Otherwise, that one's not, it's not valid anymore.
I have us in a descending wedge, so I'd be looking to see that we can close this weekly, especially with this over the early morning report that caused this little gap down. 164.77. If we can close the weekly above that, then we could have a near-term bounce. We have earnings coming up this month, I think in a couple weeks. Let's see what our date is on earnings. April 17th, so 15 days exactly. So we could have a near-term bounce to 180, and then 193 are my higher time frame levels. However, if we lose 160.83, next level I have down on the weekly. Let's make sure I posted this already. I think I posted it. Yeah, I already posted the chart. Is 144.24. That's a pretty big space in there, but that's what I'm showing. So trajectory we're on, if we just continued with the downtrend, that would be sometime in May. I don't know. I can't really trade Tesla right here. I would be looking to see if this forms, we have a consolidation in the last month, kind of in this range. We can call it from the 160 to the 175 range. So basing per se, or it could be setting up for one-time framing down on monthly, which is what we're doing. So we've got 1, 2, 3 months out of the last 4 that we're down. Yeah, I don't love it at all. I probably won't look at it again until we get back above that 173 range on a weekly close.
Yeah, really quick, SRK 999, I assume you're talking to me. I'm not Shadow, I'm Thor. And I answered your question just under your post, so you can look there.
All right, BCF is one of our trusted traders. Looking forward to actually having him on voice with us a little bit. Just hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Maybe not right now, of course, because we're doing our session, but hopefully sometime soon. So he's been showing some really good trades there in the member alerts if you guys haven't caught it. So he's asking about GEVO for long term. And it really helps, you know, for me to see what you're looking at. If you're looking at adding to long-term shares, or you're looking for a longer swing or things like that, just to be able to kind of focus the information. What I'd be looking at as far as long-term shares, let me draw some volume in here first. So
on we're looking at GEVO.
GEVO. Level that sticks out.
I wanted to say DEVO.
Right. Level that sticks out the most to me is 86.95, so we'll call it 87 cents. And right now we're actually kind of rejecting that level. We're also rejecting the 10 moving average on the weekly time frame, so worries me just a little bit. Little bit of volume. I'd like to see our bounce happen at 68 cents, and we're at 71. So this could be an interesting place for what would be considered an innovator trade, a very speculative long entry. I don't know anything about the company. I'm going to guess it's bio, but I don't know. So I'll dig into that a little bit more after this recording is over, and look at it. But it's a very interesting chart to me. So overhead volume point of control over the last 15 months is at $1.17. And then we have a couple little volume spikes, 1.32. I like the range of 153 to 155 a lot. Above that is 184. TradingView changed, so now I have to click off. And then above
Do
that,
I have the right, what?
GEVO.
Sorry, Cedar, what's the price at right now?
It is at 71 cents. So
okay, I'm listening to you, and I think I got the wrong one, so I want to make sure because I'm looking at it now.
Yep.
Okay.
71 cents right now, and I'm on the weekly. I'll post that chart, and I would say that if we close this weekly underneath 68, I'm going to have to watch it for a little bit longer. It looks like it's been grinding down for a while, so we want to be careful with knife catches here, and that's why I say I can't get my trend lines to work. It's an innovator kind of position. You have to make sure that you've got a tight stop reference point. I don't know if I like that. Hold on just a sec. Because this could also go down to 2 cents. I mean, if you look at it on a really high time frame, this has just been slowly floating down. So if we zoom really far back into 2020, that's scary to say that that's really far now. 46 cents. The fact that we haven't gotten back down into that range from the COVID, is that COVID lows? Yeah, so that's June 2020. So interesting, we're seeing some covering here. So I don't know. I'll probably just put this on my charts and watch it for a little bit. I want to see this weekly close before I get too interested in it. But 68.683 is my number that I want it to hold.
Yeah, I'm looking at this chart. It reminds me, and I haven't really looked at his book for a long time, but I always tell people it's a good book, to get a good idea on how to trade technically. And it's Weinstein's Profit in a Bull and Bear Market.
Oh, yeah.
And he has a lot of charts that look just like this, and he always has moving averages. I don't use moving averages. I used to way back. Well, I don't really use anything, but I look at this chart and it reminds me of a chart that he would show in there, and it looks like something you do want to watch. For some reason, I'm just thinking that, and at some point it's going to start turning up because it has that look about it. And I would not get into it now, but I'd really watch for more volume coming in. I saw that volume it looks like it had a volume spike the other day, like it could have been short covering. It could have been just the fact that it was hitting a really good spot that was good support, hard to tell. But if you see more volume coming in, it means that there will be either more short covering or more people thinking it's the right place to start buying it, or that some news is going to come out that will push it up further. So looking at the weekly, I'd want it to hold 93, 95, right in there. I'd want it to hold right in that area, 93, 95, and then I'd start looking to really get in. That's probably going to start pushing it back up.
I just posted a daily chart as well in the thread. Okay, let's see here. Next one, Melly, your turn.
Ellie, I know this one. I'm recognizing the ticker. It's
Mercado Libre.
Oh yeah, Mercado Libre. The reason why I know this one is because Mercado Libre is big in Central, South America, and Mexico.
Yeah, it's the
not really big.
Amazon of Brazil, right? Or
Right, but they're big in Mexico as well. So
Okay.
they've got into Mexico, and that's who you buy from if you're not buying from Amazon, because we can get Amazon here in a lot of places.
you can?
Some of the more, yeah, I mean, in Playa del Carmen and Cancun and in this area, you're not going to get it into the more of the less populated areas, and there's a lot of them in Mexico, but you're going to get, Guadalajara, San Luis Potosí, and Mexico City, and Playa del Carmen, Cancun. You're going to be able to get, packages from Amazon. So they do have competition now with Amazon, and I'm sure Amazon's probably going to move into South America as well. If they're not already there, I don't know. But back to the actual ticker. I don't like about it. We're looking at a weekly here. On the weekly, it's not making higher highs. At its peak back in 2020, it got back up in 2021 and failed. Then it really fell down. I don't know why. Maybe that was the 2021. I'd have to look and see why it started trending down, and then it started back up again in 2022. But it looks like it's making another failed high to me. I'd want to see it hold right in here because it looks like it has a chance somewhere around 1473. If it can hold there and get right back above 1570 or so, and watch the volume, of course, because I am looking and the volume is trailing off here on the weekly. So that sell-off might stop here because obviously it's running out of sellers, but the buyers aren't coming in yet either. So that's what I would do if you're a long-termer. The other thing I might do is watch this bottom trend line starting in July of 2022. Let me see where that goes. Well, that trend line, it's got kind of a ways to go before it would hit. That would be all the way down to 1340 or so, 1350, 1400 max. So it's got 100 points plus to get down to that bottom trend line. So that's really my thoughts on it. I'm not a big fan of it.
Okay, the main thing I'm watching, 1481.19 is the only real number I care about here. I'd like to see a weekly close. It looks like it's important also on the daily. So looking to see this thing bounce here. Upside targets 1539 to 1547, then 1586, 1670. I think we can get back to 1670 on this fairly easily. This thing moves. I bought these in the 2020 lows because I was just waiting. I was like, please, I can't believe I'm not in this ticker. And absolutely love it. It'll stay in my long term. It'll probably be passed to my grandkids. But as far as trading goes, I'll be looking probably from a daily perspective, a daily close holding the 1481 with confirmation of a green close on the next day. So just setting some alarms here and some alerts and watching it, because there could be a potential for a little longer dated kind of swing position here 3 or 4 months out. I'll have to look at contracts and go from there. Not in love with the chart right here, but it's got my attention that if we bounce here, we could see some interesting price action. And
Yeah, it does have support here, sure.
and I've got that chart posted already. So let's see if there's any other tickers.
I got time for one more, I think.
So SRK, when you're posting in the channel, it's not actually tagging. Even when you put the @ shadow, you have to hit enter if you were tagging him. This is Thor. And Thor said he'll answer when he finishes. So I think that was our last ticker. So upside, where can we stop puts? Stop on the puts for this week, I think was his question. So if you want to go ahead.
Well, we can talk
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, because I think we're through the tickers.
Let me go back to that one because I'm not a big fan of a long right now.
Yeah.
But if I was short,
So the thing I do with
I
long positions is ask myself if I were short, when would I stop out? So even though I don't trade short as much, thinking in that kind of realm is a beautiful thing to develop.
yeah, for me, if I was short on this stock, I'd have a stop loss above 172.50. That's kind of out there, though. I mean, that's going to kind of get you
Yeah, that'll kill
a pretty
contracts.
good loss at where you're at now. Now, if I was a long player, I would set the stops at 172.50 if it closed above and held. Short term, look here. Short term, probably 170.
Yeah, my short term would be 169.36. I would definitely not like a daily close over that if I were inputs. I would be concerned.
Yeah, but being in puts right now is not a bad thing on this one. It
Yeah.
really looks bad.
Yeah, it looks like it could continue down for sure. But for
But
me, if
remember-
this candle closed that gap or got close to closing that gap, I'd be like, oh, what are you doing? I don't know. Yeah. You trade
What's the
Tesla a
volume?
lot more than me though.
Yeah, I mean, I watch it. Like I said, the reason, I'm waiting for SPY to kind of settle down so I can get a better idea as far as the levels that I can spot, because if levels are easy, but they're really not that easy to get them. Get really close on it. You have to kind of have a feeling for it, not just looking at the candle close. You got to look at volume on some of those candle closes. You got to look at different time frames, et cetera. So for me, I really try to be more in tune with something before I start calling levels on it. And right now, SPY is not giving that to me. So what I did is I switched over to Tesla, and that's why I've been concentrating on Tesla, and that's why you see a lot of more action from me on Tesla, because it's kind of taking SPY's place for now. And I lost where I was going with this, but Tesla really looks like it's in a lot of trouble. But at any time, the big boys could step in and say, okay, I think now's the time to buy. I mean, Kathy stepped in the other day and started buying it again.
Or the shorts could start
she's not a-
covering. That is what we have to pay attention to, that those trading the underlying equity short
Yep.
might go, since we didn't take out that 160.83 on this gap down and we're bouncing here, I may start peeling off that position, which is guaranteed buyers. It's the lowest risk buying that happens. So definitely good to consider all the different angles in those trades, even if you're trading options. When will they cup up?
Yeah, when I mentioned Kathy, she's a good sized
Yeah, she's
player,
not
but
a whale.
No, not even close. That's
Yep.
why when you see her buy 1 million shares of something, she's not really. She's a big player, but she's not really a whale. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's just nice to see what she's doing, because I honestly, I know she gets a lot of heat, but I think that when it's all said and done, she's going to come out looking like gold again, like she did when she started buying a Tesla. but she is kind of, she really got kind of her fame from buying Tesla when nobody else was.
Right.
Same with Michael Blurry when he came out with the crisis that he shorted. I mean, they got famous on that one thing, really.
Right.
How
And that
good
goes
are
back
they?
to the psychology of you're only as good as your last trade. And it's super important not to be attached to anything other than execution on this trade.
Right. I mean, you look at someone like Buffett. There's no doubt that he's probably one of the greatest traders that ever lived, and he did everything by the book and really meat and potatoes trader, and it served him well. Someone like Michael Blurry, we'll see what happens at the end of his life when it's all said and done. We'll see how he really comes out. I think Kathy's one of those people that's going to come out looking like gold. And I
Nice.
don't know why I went on that one. Maybe just to kill some
Well,
time.
because of Tesla in general, so that makes sense. Well, it's always great to catch up with you, Thor. And as always, if you guys want those tickers, please make sure you're getting them in. Hopefully before the session, but even right at the start of the session. That way, we wouldn't be talking about this stuff if there were other tickers for us to review. And this is all about teaching charting. So this is not tickers that we're collecting and looking up. This is requests from our members inside that thread of, how are you looking at this on a higher time frame? What are your thoughts on the chart? And teaching. That's why we call it a charting session. We're teaching charting. So it's for the members, for you guys. Let us know if you like it. Let us know which tickers you want to see, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next one next Tuesday.
Yeah, I'd like to say one more thing because
Sure.
you're right. We don't always trade what we're talking about here today. And I want to make sure people understand. When I'm calling Tesla short and when I'm calling levels on it, I'm not always in it. It's really for you guys to take a look at it, say, oh yeah, I can see that, and short or whatever you want to do. But just because I say something about it, doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to be in it because I have a lot of stuff going on during the day. And I really like to watch the trades that I'm in when it's a intraday type trade. So I can't always be in it. I've missed a lot of money because of my 4-year-old because I have
Right?
no choice. Yeah, I mean, she comes first and I have to take her somewhere and I see a nice trade setting up. Guess what's not going to happen? The nice trade. And I've seen so much money go the other way that way. But just so you know, I call them the way I see them, but I'm not always in them.
I am out of my ES long and my SPY calls right here. 52.50.
All right, guys, I think that's it. Thanks, Cedar.
You're
It was
welcome.
fun again. And we'll see you next week.
All
Well,
right.
you and I will be talking, but
Right.
we'll be
Well,
live next week.
perfect. All right. See you then. Bye.